Senator Eckhardt, thank you for taking some time out to talk with us.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Ashley.
All right, so you made a big announcement. Tell us about it.
Well, I announced that I'm going to run for Congress in my congressional district, which is CD 10. It's Michael McCall's old district. It spans 13 counties. It runs from Lake Livingston to Lake Travis. It includes cities, towns, farms, ranches, flagship universities. And it really looks like a perfect slice of Texas. And I'm running to represent it because even though across 13 counties, there's certainly going to be differences, our common ground and our common interests are far bigger than those differences.
So you've been kind of weighing this decision for a little while now. You kind of hinted before that you had a committee who was looking into it. Really, what kind of took you over the hump to decide, you know what, I am going to do this?
What took me over the hump is I really dug deep and thought to myself, you know, what do we expect our government to be? Do we expect it to be a one-party system where we really don't have a choice? Or do we expect it to take a population that is very different and work together to find common ground solutions to really genuine concerns and make sure that we deliver the goods, not just for this generation, but for future generations? If we work together and we find common ground, we can build solutions that help us not just now, but into the future for our kids and their kids.
As of us talking right now, and I have to say that because who knows when a ruling could come down.
Right.
But there, you know, District 10 was redrawn. Did the changing of the boundaries play any role in that?
It really didn't. It played some of a role just because the gerrymandering, just the act of the gerrymander this recent time was so extreme. But frankly, the 2021 gerrymander was pretty extreme too. Really what's taking me into this race is this acknowledgement that the deep divisions that we are experiencing really are nothing in comparison to the challenges that we all need solutions for.
So let's talk about District 10.
Mm-hmm.
It has long been a very red district.
Mm-hmm.
And you are very much a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
You have very different views. Do you think that your message is going to resonate with those rural county voters?
I do. I've been in public service for 20 years, more than 20 years now, as a prosecutor, county commissioner, a judge, a state senator. And in all that time, I've always had a pretty sizable rural population and a pretty sizable Republican constituency. I came up through local government where we look for solutions and we make sure that people play by the rules and that the rules are the same for everybody. I don't think that that's a Republican or a Democrat issue. I think that people are tired of slogans and they want solutions.
I think there are also people, though, who are just automatically going to see that you are a Democrat and they're going to say, no way. I don't even want to hear what she has to say. How do you combat that in a district that, again, has historically been so red for so long?
I think there's certainly going to be a percentage that do just go by their team colors, and that's all there is to it. Republican, Democrat, they're done. They've made their choice. And I want them to have that choice. But I also think that there's a significant number of people who've grown disenchanted with party affiliation because it's not getting them what they want. We've had one-party rule in the Texas legislature for 2 decades, and now we have one-party rule in all 3 branches of the federal government. And what has it brought us? It has brought us a government shutdown. I know what government can do for us, and I know who government is supposed to work for. And right now, government isn't working for anyone. It's not working at all.
You know, looking at this particular race, running for Congress, what do you feel like your priorities would be if you are sent to Washington, D.C.?
Absolutely. Priority number 1 is healthcare. Talking to folks in Congressional District 10, really, no matter what their party affiliation, what age bracket, everyone is saying, my healthcare costs are unsustainable. I'm not sure if I can afford my health insurance, and even if I can, I don't know whether I can find a doctor. This is across the board a major concern. And we really just don't see any end in sight to the cost of health care. So that's going to be priority number one. Another big priority is going to be education finance, and making sure at the federal level that we are assuring every Texan and every American that their children will get the education that they need to really thrive. And then a third that I want to throw out there that is unique to Texas, but so important, is our water supply. The federal government has always been an important partner in making sure that we had appropriate infrastructure. Our Highland Lakes are an example of a federal program to assure that we would have a fair distribution of our surface water. It was also a flood control device. It was also an energy producer. And that has provided dividend to 80 years of Texans.
Yeah. I want to take a step back to one of the things that you mentioned, and that's education. You talk about wanting to secure funding for education across the country, but right now, the leaders in Washington, D.C. have been talking about dismantling the Department of Education. So you're kind of going in at odds, right, with the administration?
I am going in at odds with this particular administration. But I'll tell you, the people of Congressional District 10, Republicans and Democrats alike, want our children to be educated. We are all very concerned that our children won't have the appropriate education, they won't be able to afford a house, and they may not even have drinking water in the future. So this is not a Republican-Democrat issue. Everyone wants their child, their children, to be educated. We can't afford not to. So I think that when people in this district say the country is going in the wrong direction, that is one of the issues where they are very clear that is the wrong direction.
You know, one of the gifts and the curses of being in elected office and then running for a new position is you have a voting record. People can look and see exactly how you feel and where you are on numerous issues. It's no secret that when it comes to votes in the Texas Senate, you are often a dissenting voice on many of, even things that have bipartisan support. You know, what would you say to folks in District 10 about your voting record? And then do you see yourself, because you would be representing a constituency that is a little, you know, perhaps less progressive than the folks in Austin and Travis County, do you think you would legislate any differently?
I think it's actually a blessing. It's a blessing to any constituency to be able to kick the tires on who they may be selecting and really know where they are. I do have a record, and I think my record proves up that when a piece of legislation is about sloganeering and winning points and doesn't actually do good for anyone, I vote against it. It may look good, it may sound good, it may really put a feather in your cap, but if it's not actually doing good for the constituents, or worse, if it's doing bad for the constituents, I'm going to vote no. And you can be confident that I'm going to stay laser focused on things that will actually bring the constituents good public policy.
And do you think that would continue? Do you see yourself legislating any differently if you were in D.C. than how you do it now in the Capitol?
Certainly I would legislate differently because the interests of the district would be different than my current senatorial district, which is right now almost entirely, well, it is entirely within Travis County. But when I first entered the Senate, I had both Travis County and Bastrop. And the beauty of having both of those counties is if I found a solution that worked for both of them, I knew I had common ground. And that was a wonderful thing. But Bastrop was gerrymandered out of my Senate district.
This decision to run for Congress, your Senate term in the Texas Senate isn't up until 2029. Do you feel like there's concern, or that there will be concern amongst your constituents about where your heart is? About, are you really here for the Senate, or do you really just want to be in Congress?
Well, the beautiful thing is I'm going to be a public servant either in the U.S. House of Representatives or in the Texas Senate in January of 2027. I've been a public servant my entire adult life. I intend to continue looking for solutions and working toward those solutions on common ground, no matter what position I'm in. I'm not running for title. I'm running to get things done.
How hard of a run do you anticipate this will be for you?
Because
it's a very large, I mean, the district is very large, just the landscape of it all, right?
It is 13 counties, but here's an interesting thing. A U.S. congressional district has fewer people in it than a Texas Senate district. And a Texas Senate district has fewer people in it than when I was county judge. So this is an interesting opportunity for me to reach out across 13 counties, but to contact actually a smaller population than what I'm used to representing.
Yeah. And the message for those folks, right, as to why, and obviously we're very early, but as to why they should consider voting for you, you know?
I anticipate that because of our single party ruling at the federal level and at the state level, that most of the Republicans in the primary will not feel confident speaking openly and honestly about the challenges that we face. And so I look forward to giving voice to those concerns for those constituents all throughout this campaign. And I think that a lot of people are feeling alone, they're feeling unheard, and they're feeling like no one cares about these deep concerns. I want to make sure that they are heard, and I want to amplify their concerns.
Yeah. Is that something that you learned through your exploratory committee, some of the things that people said they were dealing with?
Absolutely. Many people that I talked to felt afraid to raise their concerns for fear that they would look disloyal. But I will tell you that it was quite gratifying to go up to Bryan, College Station, on October 18th and to see 1,000 people lining the streets saying, we're not going in the right direction. We want change. And we know that nothing changes unless it's challenged.
Texas A&M, that is in the midst. When you talk about Bryan College Station, you mentioned the fact that, you know, such a major university being within the district. I mean, these are areas that people just typically, I don't know that Democrats have even really tried to challenge Congressman McCall because they feel like it's just such a given.
Mm-hmm. And you know the old adage, you win exactly 0 races that you don't enter. I think it's long past time for us to have really open and honest conversations about the challenges that we face and look for that kind of common ground, because common ground is what democracy is built on. A one-party system is nothing that the founding fathers ever wanted. In fact, it's exactly what they fought a revolution over.
Okay. Any final thoughts that you want to add?
I want to provide Congressional District 10 the choice of voting for an implementer. And I want to bring my experience to my neighbors across this 13-county district.